mercy. There's a new champion in college basketball. And when I say the champions, I mean the champions. There's no debate, no suspense, just pure, unadulterated domination. We'll be talking about that with the new championship coach as well. That's coming up. Plus, Sam Darnold traded to the Carolina Panthers. Great move for the New York Jets, for the Carolina Panthers, who won in that trade. And once again, there's a problem that I have with my employers. ESPN put out some damn top 25 list I got a problem with. I'm representing. First Takes in the house with the crew. Let's go.
You're never going to get another moment like this. It's special, and other things that you got to cherish.
Title game underway. Here we go. Everybody's getting a three. Baylor unstoppable right now. Gonzaga with life. Defense turns to offense. The concession by the unbeaten Bulldogs. And the Baylor Bears claim the school's first men's basketball championship.
Good morning. Welcome into First Take. There are new champions. Yes, sir. The Baylor Bears. Huge congratulations. Coach Seth Greenberg here with us. Of course, Max Kellerman, Stephen A.Smith. I'm Molly Karen Rose. Gentlemen, good day. Looking dapper as usual. Just like none of us expected, except you, Coach, who did switch your pick in the end, and you had Baylor winning it. We'll get to that in just a second. But, Max, I will start with you. Is it fair to say at this point that Gonzaga was overrated?
Of course they were overrated. It's not that they weren't good. They were very good. All year they were very good. But all year we heard. All year we watched, we heard, we talked about, we in the media, how special Gonzaga was. How this was the special team. How they might go undefeated and win the whole thing and be the first team to do it in a million years. And what we saw as the tournament came to a close was that there was a special team, a lot of really good teams. Houston was good, let's talk about the Final Four. UCLA was really good, Gonzaga was, but Baylor was special. Gonzaga was a little lucky to get by UCLA, let's face it, that game could have gone either way. Baylor dominated Houston. They beat the brakes off those guys. And how do they do it? Baylor, as they've been doing all year, Coach said it just the other day. Coach, you said it. They have more guys who can get their own shot, right? But they dominated this game on the glass. They hit their shots. They stayed connected on defense. To my eye, Suggs was the only guy on Gonzaga who looked like maybe he could start or play on that Baylor team last night. Baylor was the special team. Lots of really good teams in the tournament every year. Gonzaga was one of them this year, but not the special team that we've been talking about. There was a special team, and it was Baylor. And by the way, maybe if there wouldn't have been for all the cancellations and postponements in their season, Baylor goes undefeated. Who knows? But I know this. Once it got to tournament time, especially as we moved along in the tournament, that was one of the best and most dominating performances I have ever seen by a team late in the tournament. They destroyed everything in their path. And by the way, let's not forget, basketball's a game of runs. Gonzaga went, closing out the half after it looked like it was over early. Wait a minute, it's single digits. Oh, hold on a second. And with a little under 13 minutes to go, Kispert gets his shot blocked, and they come down the other end and shoot the three. And with 12 minutes plus to go in the game, you knew the game is over. That shot blew out, that sequence blew out the candles. There was a special team, but it wasn't the, let's face it, overrated Gonzaga. It was the underrated Baylor team.
Max, first of all, I appreciate you paying attention when I told you that there were floor gamers and shot makers all over the floor for this Baylor team. But what does overrated mean? All right, let's think about what overrated means. Think about this Gonzaga team. They can only control what they can control. Preseason, they challenged themselves. What did they do? They played Virginia. Oh, they were the defending national champions. Absolutely spanked them. Oh, they played West Virginia, a physical team. They played a Kansas team. They played Iowa with the National Player of the Year. They ran through the NCAA tournament. It's not their fault that people put them up on this pedestal. They were historically good offensively. So you lose one game and all of a sudden you're overrated? No, you're not overrated. You had a historic season. Could you finish it? No. Success is a journey, not a destination. There are roadblocks and detours along the way. Their final roadblock was Baylor. Baylor, a team that had a couple of losses. All right, Baylor, a team that went through a pause. Baylor, a team that was a bad matchup. I talked to Mark Few in January. He said, you know what, Seth? He said, the one team that concerns me is Baylor. Their style of play, their ability to defend, their ability to rebound the basketball, their floor gamers, their shot makers. But let's not mitigate or minimize what Gonzaga was this year. They were a historically good offensive team. Did they finish it? No, they didn't finish it. They lost a game to Baylor. Does that mean they're overrated? First of all, who rates them anyway? It's guys like you who rate them. You know what? To me, they are really, really a good basketball team that got beat by a better basketball team. Baylor, if they played 10 times, I really think they'd win 8 of the games. It's a bad matchup. That doesn't mean they were overrated. That just means that in that moment in time, they were beat by a better team.
Well, Coach Seth Greenberg, let me say this to you, sir. I really, really don't appreciate you coming on this show on national television and forcing me to agree with Max Kellerman within the next
Stephen A.
5 minutes of the show. That's what you forced me to. Now, I will say this. Let me get specific here with you, Coach. When I say overrated, I don't view it in the literal sense. I'm just saying Baylor should have been rated number 1. God, don't put it on guys like myself and Max. You're the one that covers college basketball exceptionally well, I might add. One of the best analysts in the business. Make no mistake about it. But listen, it was less than 48 hours ago that you were right in front of us talking about Gonzaga was going to win, and then obviously you had an epiphany and you saw something in Baylor. But it was that tough of a decision for you. And looking at them last night, I don't know why it was that damn tough for you. I know why it was tough for me, because I only saw Baylor twice this year, to be quite honest with you, and I only saw Gonzaga twice as well. So that's why it was tough for me. You know these teams, and to look at Baylor, more athletic, bigger, stronger, faster, and they built like football players, like they trained with the football team or something. I mean, listen, first things first, here's all you need to know. Baylor's first offensive sequence, they missed about 3 shots and had an offensive rebound each time, okay? You got Vital, who finished with 11 rebounds. 8 of them were offensive. He had 8 offensive rebounds by himself. The entire team of Gonzaga had 1. They got out-rebounded 34-17. Timmy, I mean, I watched this dude's moves in the post throughout the NCAA tournament, and I said to myself, this dude is special. Well, yeah, when he bigger, but when he went up against guys just as big, if not bigger than him, excuse me, them big boys for Baylor came out. They must have been watching First Take, because they came out and they said, who the hell do they think we are? Oh, we ain't having it. And Timmy was, I mean, I've never seen someone minimized overnight the way Drew Timmy was. I mean, he was minimized. I mean, he just looked like a dude that was a small forward compared to those Goliaths, those mammoths of men in the post. So you look at it from that perspective. And then, of course, the guard play. I mean, Butler, Teague. I mean, these brothers are just something, and Mitchell, of course, just special. And so I look at it from that perspective. I'm like, damn, faster, bigger, stronger, more athletic. And they had the dogs in them. They were like, yo, we ain't having it. All this noise, everybody been chirping about Gonzaga. We gonna put the world on notice. They ain't even on our level. Now, that's not about Max Kellerman. That's not about Stephen A. That's about the college basketball experts that had Gonzaga all day, including Dickie V. Let's not forget him. You guys were talking about Gonzaga. So Max is actually right. Not that Gonzaga is the joke. No, they should have been number 2 all year long instead of number 1 playing in a West Coast
First of all, I feel like Henry Kissinger bringing you and Max together.
Okay.
I mean, this is a special moment. Early in the morning at the top of the show. All right, I feel like I've brought 2 competitors together. Like we've had a detente right here.
Coach, this is not easy for either one of us.
It's not really competition. I get what you're saying.
Overrated. Here's the thing. Here's the one thing I'll say is, like, when we say overrated, like, so is number 2 overrated? I mean, they challenged themselves in their schedule. Baylor was better. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, like, here's the deal. They had a magical season. They were 40 minutes away from a championship.
I'm just saying they should have been number 2 instead of number 1.
No, they were a million miles away, Coach.
They should have been number 2 instead of number 1.
Coach, they were a million miles away from a championship. They had They had no shot to beat Baylor. And this is what I'm saying. First of all, when you said who overrates them, this is not an indictment on Gonzaga. They're a really good team. As Stephen A. said, they should have been rated 2. But when you're supposed to be rated 2 and you're actually rated 1, that is, as Stephen A. points out, that's the definition of overrated. I'm not just going to say you guys in the college basketball fraternity, because we all picked Gonzaga. Stephen A. and I both picked Gonzaga. In the media, and fans, overrated Gonzaga because they were really good, but the special team was Baylor. And one thing I take exception to is, well, it's a styles matchup. Gonzaga was worried. Baylor had a bad style. That's like saying, the 95 Bulls had a tough style to beat. Or like Floyd Mayweather had a tough style to beat. Or the 98 Yankees had a tough. They're just the best. Like, they got to the Final Four, Coach, and beat the brakes off of Houston and Gonzaga. They got to the Final Four, and no one competed with them.
Look, I agree with that. Look, when I changed my mind, here's what I said. I compared them. This real quickly. We used to have those little touch screens where you compare teams. Better backcourt, Baylor. Better defense, Baylor. Better rebounding, Baylor. And the one matchup I thought, and more experience. And you're right about Mark Vital. I mean, he had eight offensive rebounds. I mean, that first place sent a message. The only area I thought that maybe